Hey, what's going on, everybody? So we're going to talk about an explosive Sorc build I've been working on. First things first, 5 pieces of Storm Masters, 5 pieces of Sergeant's Mail, with Valken Scoria Mask for that offensive penetration. All pieces, traits will be Divines, and we went all max health. Obviously, I ran out of resources to make all of these Divines, but these will all eventually be Divines. And then I did all maximum health with the Oaken Soul Ring. The reason that we went max health is we get almost, not quite 30k. This is going to help us for our survivability in the rare cases in which something hits us and it takes away our shield. So, all 64 points into Magicka with the Thief Mundus. So we're doing high damage with our Lightning Staff heavy attack, which is our main attack. It's what we're going to be attacking with the most for this build. We are running Witch Mother's Potent Brew. So between the Lightning Staff heavy attack and the Witch Mother's Potent Brew, we're never going to have to worry about Magicka sustain ever. But also, for our other potions, we're going to want to run the Essence of Stamina and the Crown Tri Restoration Potion, or you can make Tri Restoration Potions, either one. But the Stamina, that's kind of where there's a little bit of a weakness with this character. We don't have anything to really Stamina sustain, so if you're fighting something that requires you to sprint away or dodge roll a lot, this is something you're definitely going to want to be carrying on this character as well to make sure that you maintain your stamina. For the skills, we are running Proximity Detonation. That comes from Alliance War Assault. We are running Unstable Wall of Storms. That comes from the Destruction Staff skill line. We are running Regenerative Ward. That comes from Daedric Summoning. And then we are running Critical Surge from Storm Calling, and the Bound Aegis also from Daedric Summoning, with our alt being the Shatter Soul. This is one of the first skill lines you will ever see in this game. The soul magic comes from the very first original quest line that you get in the game, running through Cold Harbor and stuff like that. We went with the Shatter Soul morph, so after 5 seconds it explodes. So we have Proximity Detonation, which is going to explode after 8 seconds. Then we have Unstable Wall of Storms, which explodes when it expires. So you can actually recast this before it expires to make it explode again. Then we're running the Regenerative Ward. The cool thing about this is I went with the Regenerative Ward because it lasts for 10 seconds. So I know when this expires on its own, or when this expires, my Regenerative Ward is either going to run out or it's about to run out. And I know to make sure that I recast it. It's kind of like a reminder. When both of the effects of these two go off, they create an explosive image. And when that happens, I know, and I am reminded, check my Regenerative Ward, make sure I'm recasting that, because we want to shield sustain with this build at all times as much as we possibly can. And then the Crit Surge, if by chance we didn't activate the Regenerative Ward, the Crit Surge is going to be healing us constantly because we have 34.9% into our crit chance, which means we're going to be critting more than enough for the Crit Surge to be healing us on a regular basis, which is really, really nice. It's exactly what we want. So, for the build, we're going to cast Proximity Detonation first before we even start the fight, making sure that's going already when we get into the fight. You just got to make sure you're within basically melee range for this to hit them. And then Unstable Wall of Storms, you drop that, you cast the Regenerative Ward, then you cast Crit Surge. So throw this out, then cast that, throw that, and then heavy attack. You heavy attack 2 or 3 times, you saw the explosion go off, recast all 4 abilities. So the thing is with this lasts 33 seconds, but it's just easier to just cast this when these effects end as well. Just to make sure that it's still going, you don't have to keep an eye on this. You're already trying to keep an eye on regenerative ward. Don't spread yourself out thin, trying to keep an eye on multiple abilities. Just go ahead and recast this when you're recasting these as well. And then for the Shatter Soul, this is another little weakness with this build. This is all you're doing when you're casting it. So when you're casting this, you absolutely want to make sure that at least all 3 of these are going while you're casting it. So you're getting that damage shield on top of the immunity to all disabling effects that you're getting from that ultimate. So you want to cast this, throw the shield on, and then cast your ult. So let me go ahead and get my ult real quick so I can show you guys. All right, cast that, cast your shield, throw that out, boom. That explodes, and then you still have your shield after both the effects are done, so you can immediately start recasting these again. As you can see, we're doing a lot of damage with our lightning staff heavy attacks. You really want to make sure that you're hitting enemies with that most often, and also to regenerate your ult, because you're going to want to be using your ult as soon as you get it back again. So finally, our champion points. So this is the main 2 most important things, because one of our main priorities with this build is that shield sustain. You want to get Bastion and you want to get Shield Master. So these 2 abilities are going to bump this up. So that 11,725 damage for 10 seconds, part of that height of that absorption is coming from those 2 champion points. So that's the main thing with those. I always like to make my characters as fast as possible, so 16 points into Hasty, and then over here 50 points into Steed's Blessing. That's pretty much kind of just to make my character fast. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do that, but what I do recommend is making sure that you get Steadfast Enchantment. Your weapon enchantments have a 10% chance to not consume a charge when activated per stage. You're going to want to concentrate on getting that first. If you're running in Cyrodiil, you're going to want to get the Breakfall. But this is the most important too. The liquid efficiency, when you use a potion or poison, you have a 10% chance to not consume it. That's really, really nice. If we like cast a stamina potion or whatever for this build, there's a chance to not consume it. But this is by far the #1 most important one in this champion point line. Rationer. You get 30 more minutes onto your Witch Mother's Potent Brew. So that is really, really nice. Big fan of Rationer. And then finally over here, we have all 20 points into Precision to unlock the ability to get Fighting Finesse. So bump up our critical damage and healing. And then all 50 points into Wrathful Strikes, that 205 weapon and spell damage. Then 50 points into Biting Aura, so your area of effect attacks are being bumped up, which is really, really nice and effective. Then in here, all 20 points, we want to bump up our offensive penetration, all 40 points into Flawless Ritual, all 30 points into War Mage, and then this is the most important out of all of the champion point skills, Weapons Expert. This is going to bump up your Lightning Staff heavy attack by 20% damage. That's really, really nice and very, very effective, and by far the most important champion point skill you can get. And then everything else you can pretty much just do whatever you want to do. I personally plan on coming in here and putting points into Blessed, so my healing done is going to be increased, so Crit Surge is going to get a little bit of a buff from that. And then also going in here and putting all of my points, all 20 into Quick Recovery, all 20 into Hardy, all 20 into Preparation, and all 20 into elemental ages. So all of these are going to reduce your damage taken from all different kinds of damages. So healing taken, which is really nice, it's going to bump up the amount of healing you're getting. And then reduce damage from magical attacks, reduce damage from martial attacks, and reduce damage from non-player attacks. So if you're running trials, dungeons, you're fighting a world boss, this is going to reduce the damage that they're doing to you. Really, really nice. So go ahead and do that. And that's it. So, oh, also, when you go to cast this Shatter Soul, make absolutely sure that you have just started casting Regenerative Ward. You want this shield to be going at the beginning of casting, well, before. You want this to be going before you cast this ultimate. You want to combine the shield that you're getting with the gaining immunity to all disabling effects that you get from the ultimate. So, hopefully you guys found this informative. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one, alright? Laters.